In October 2011, Trooper Donna Jane Watts did something extraordinary, something that would change the course of her life completely. Back in 2011, Donna Jane Watts, who was an FHP trooper, chased down and arrested an off-duty officer who was driving his car on the road exceeding the permitted limit of 120 miles per hour. Driving his car on the Florida highways, a Miami officer named Fausto Lopez was harsh driving his car over a limit of 120 miles per hour, which caught the attention of Trooper Watts. From the source footage of Watts' car dashcam, it's clear that the officer was driving like crazy, creating possible accident possibilities for himself as well as the other people going on the highway. Realizing her responsibility, Trooper Watts started chasing the speeding car, and the chase continued for some minutes like a Fast and Furious movie. The driver did not seem to care about any driving rules and just kept driving his car at that ferocious speed for the next couple of minutes. However, when the speeding officer realized that he was being chased down, he pulled over his car on the side of the road. And that's when the FHP trooper gets out of her cruiser, pointing a gun toward the Miami officer's car and asks him to get out of the car with his hands out in the open.
Put your hands out that window right now! Put your hands out the window! Oh yeah, I'm serious! Put it in park! Get out of the vehicle! Get out of the vehicle! Right now, so I'm done. Turn around.
After being asked to come out, the Miami police officer Lopez tried to make his way out of the arrest by telling Watts that he was going on an off-duty work to his school to help patrol. He said that he did this for the kids and that he didn't notice Watts chasing him down. However, none of his excuses seemed to affect the trooper on duty, and she cuffed him and put him in the back of her cruiser. As a result, Officer Fausto Lopez lost his job for violating traffic rules and being so reckless despite being an officer. And that was it. At least this is what it looked like. This heroic act by Trooper Watts was widely celebrated in the media for the next few days as a symbol of duty and discipline. After all, it was an officer holding another officer responsible for their reckless actions, right? But little did Trooper Watts know what was going to happen in the upcoming days and months. She would have never thought that this heroic act of hers would start a chain of events that would make her question her own safety and privacy. For the next few days, Watts was in the headlines of every newspaper and media channel running in Florida. However, a few days later, it looked like the entire police force was going against her, as a whopping number of 88 police officers decided to do something that Watts would have never thought of. These officers used the confidential police driver database, aka David, to extract personal information about Donna Jane Watts and keep tabs on her actions and her personal life as well. Yes, a female officer being stalked by other officers, it was something like that. In the following days, Trooper Watts started receiving prank calls, pizzas on her doorstep, and even human feces outside her home. The matter went to such great lengths that she was even afraid to open her mailbox. Why? For the fear of finding something dangerous and creepy. With all this constant harassment and cheap tricks done by the police officers, Trooper Watts started feeling insecure about her own safety and well-being. She even began doubting if her colleagues would back her up in a dangerous situation like this one. But as you saw in the video clip, she wasn't gonna lay down. She decided to take action against these unacceptable deeds and took this case to court by filing a 69-page long lawsuit against those 88 officers that included 25 jurisdictions, from Miami-Dade, Broward, to Palm Beach counties. In her lawsuit, Donna Jane Watts explained how the 88 officers had accessed her driver's license information more than 200 times and used it to harass and bully her. She also mentioned that she was feeling insecure by different cars being parked outside her house and the things she had been receiving over this period. But before the court could take action, 83 of the 88 officers considered it wise to settle the lawsuit instead of fighting over it in court. So, 83 settlements were made. The most notable settlements of all these came from the Broward Sheriff's Office for an amount of $6,000. Hollywood and Lauderhill decided to settle the lawsuit for $5,000 and $6,500 respectively. On the other hand, Margate paid a whooping sum of $10,000 for not being listed in the lawsuit. Now, The city of Miami, where the remaining 5 officers worked, probably the friends of Fausto Lopez, also decided to settle the lawsuit for an amount of $24,500. However, the 5 Miami officers that included Pablo Camacho, Roshan Milligan, Jesus Petraza, Dame Cravarez, and David Cicerno straightforward refused to settle as they believed they did nothing wrong. They wanted the case to be brought in court, as it seemed, although it was clear from the Miami Department's internal affairs investigation that the officers were searching for unjustified info. No strong action was taken against them, instead of official reprimands. Finally, the case went to court and the officers' defense was a very curious one. After being asked why the search for Trooper Watt's personal information, the officers said that they did it for their own safety. Yes, you heard it right. According to their attorney, Robert Rochelle, they looked her up because she pointed a gun at an officer, Fausto Lopez, and they also worked in the same area. Robert also said that there was no connection to them harassing her. Initially, Trooper Watts won the legal battle against those 5 Miami officers, but this wasn't the end of this drama. The 5 officers appealed the ruling, and 3 judges, Frank Hall, Charles Wilson, and Stanley Marcus, reviewed the case, and guess what happened? They overturned the original decision, which was in favor of Donna Jane Watts. You heard it right. According to the judges, the officers had not violated any law and therefore should not face any legal repercussions. Later in February 2017, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Florida concluded that the 5 Miami officers had not accessed Trooper Watt's personal data for an explicitly forbidden purpose under the Driver's Privacy Protection Act. And as a result, they were granted qualified immunity, and the case also went back to the district court with a ruling that favored the 5 Miami officers, not Trooper Donna Jane Watts. The judges concluded, because Watts failed to prove that the officers accessed information for a purpose that was clearly not permitted by the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, we need not address whether their actual purpose was permitted under the DPPA or not. Continuing this, the judge wrote, accordingly, we conclude that the district court erred in denying the defendants qualified immunity. We reverse and remand to the district court for entry of judgment in favor of the defendants. The district court's ruling came out as a big surprise for everyone because it was in favor of the officers, despite their admitting the fact that they had accessed Trooper Watt's personal information. This case of Trooper Donna Jane Watts gathered a lot of gossip in the media and aroused multiple questions in the minds of people. Like, if cops aren't safe from other cops, how can local people be? Was it a fault of Watts to pull over that car and arrest that Miami officers? What do you think of this?